Good morning, everyone. We'll start with contracts and agreements, the Iowa Land Records staff appointment. This is an approval item, so did everyone get the resume, Phil? Did you send that to everybody?
I did.
Okay.
I should correct that and say I sent it to the committee members. So
okay.
But I am going to display that here in just a second so everybody can see it.
Okay, this is appointing Samantha McMahon as accounting coordinator, and she is going to be taking Kay Kelleher's place. There's a letter from Phil, and then you want to show her resume. Has everybody had a chance to look at this if you were sent it? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion to approve Samantha as the new accounting coordinator.
I have a quick question. Phil, can you elaborate how many applicants will apply for this position?
We posted it on Indeed, and as I mentioned in my memo, we had over 50 applicants apply. They weren't all qualified. There were a lot of, I would say, very beginning, very rudimentary people with accounting and sort of office administration experience. I would say we had probably 10 people that we really felt like we that they might be a fit. I think we ended up doing an initial video interview of 8 individuals who seemed to have the potential to be that. Samantha was one of the 2 finalists that we did. This is Lisa and I did this. We did a face-to-face interview, not naming names, but we did have another, I would say, very qualified candidate who would have been, I think, a very good fit also, but that did not work out. So Samantha, I would say, is definitely the best candidate that we interviewed.
Thank you for the elaboration.
Are there any other questions?
I see there is a question in the chat pod I see, and that is the compensation of $65,000, and that is exactly what we were paying Kay. So we in other circumstances we might have needed to jump above that, but we didn't need to in this case. So it's exactly the same, and that's just worked out that way. There's no rhyme or reason to that. It just ended up being the right number for Samantha, and it fit our budget as well.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the appointment of Samantha McMahon as accounting coordinator.
This is Julie. I will move to accept the appointment.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there anybody that would second?
This is Natalie. I will second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to accept the appointment. All those in favor say aye.
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 Give everybody a chance to get it typed in. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, appears the motion carried. Next agenda item is project updates on the cloud migration and firewall. Phil, you want to fill us in on that, or have Kelly?
I thought you'd want to hear it from the expert in this. We know that we've over the course of the last 4 or 5 weeks, we've had disrupted service, particularly on Fridays, which was necessary to shut down our system. We appreciate everybody's patience, but it was a big job. But rather than have me describe the aspects of it, I would just say we're in the cloud now, and Kelly is here to, I think, give you an overview of what technically was done and where we stand right now. So, Kelly.
Sure. Yep. So we started on March 8th with firewall cutovers, basically setting up the new firewalls and then pointing those to our co-location rack, the existing rack in the data center. And that day, and then the following week on 3/15, we also had network changes to make. Both of those were pretty disruptive. We were down for a couple extended periods. The first day we were down for probably a couple hours at least. So we got that figured out and done. So then we were running on new firewalls, and those were pointing to our old rack equipment. And after running on those for a week and doing some other configuration modifications in order to prepare for migrating our virtual environment, we started with that on 3/22, and we moved what we have in our virtual environment as a development system or development area for Myrna, Mancy, and I to do development work. We moved that over first as kind of a test bed prior to moving our staging QA environment. That followed shortly behind on 3/27. We got that moved over, and that was a good production or a test run for our production environment, if you will, because it closely mimics our production environment. And then on 3/29, we started early in the morning, getting things migrated and ran that throughout the day. So I got up at 3 a.m., started migrating stuff, and then we finished just before midnight, and we had everything back up. And we did that on a Friday. Could we have done it on a weekend? We could have, but we did that on a Friday to give us time to test, make sure we had everything linked up correctly, and give the admin team time to jump in and go through and verify that everything is working correctly. We did have a little bit of a performance bottleneck on the following Monday, which we were able to identify and get resolved. And then since then, it's been pretty consistent, good performance, I think. And we're not seeing any issues. So what remains at this point is yet this week, I'm going to head back to the data center and clean out our co-location rack and our equipment and take that to a recycler. We've discussed terminating the co-location agreement with LightEdge and LightEdge billing. And so we just have the new cloud stuff on the bill. And we have a little bit of configuration left to do in the environment in terms of making sure we have all the backups in place again and that they're all running correctly. And then a few things in our development environment. But other than that, happy to say that we're fully in the cloud, and beyond a couple things here and there, it was largely pretty smooth, and unfortunate that we had to have a little bit of downtime during the work week, but I think that paid dividends in order to give us time on the weekends to go through and review things after changes were made, to keep us running at the beginning of the following week. So I think overall it went pretty well.
One of the things you might elaborate on, Kelly, is the amount of activity associated actually with migrating our data. We had a lot of data to move from one system to another.
We did have a lot of data to move. One of the biggest things was the means by which we were going to transfer that data. Our image repositories are fairly large. They are sitting on, a cache of information. We have two of them, a public image repository and a private image repository, if you will. we had some questions. We had to figure out how to move those things. And it was going to come down to, at one point, kind of a physical, take this large USB drive in and save them off on the USB drive. And then we take it and plug it into LightEdge's equipment and do that. Well, we ended up coming up with a different solution that actually worked a lot better. LightEdge ended up running a pretty long and new a 10 gig line to our rack specifically so that we could do this migration. So very thankful that they were able to do that for us and not charge us for it. And part of that configuration that we had to do was getting that line set up, getting it plugged into our switch network. But that is part of the reason I got up early on the Friday, because that data transfer for one of those took almost 3 hours to get transferred. And that was just to get it to temporary storage. And then we had 3 hours on the other side for LightEdge to pull it in from their temp storage into their environment, roughly 3 hours. So we have 2 of those. So just those 2 servers in by themselves took a substantial amount of time, but the remainder of it wasn't too bad. We got the data transferred, and like I said, the biggest thing is making sure that we're getting everything backed up right now. So that's kind of what I'm working on this week.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions for Kelly?
Kelly, I'm not to pretend to know exactly what you just said, but I appreciate your commitment and getting up early in the morning and keeping us and getting us on the cloud. I think that that'll help a little bit on as far as hacking and all that stuff, correct?
It absolutely will. LightEdge is required to carry, not required, but they do carry numerous security certifications for their environment. They will be providing us an analysis of our firewall traffic and going through that with us so that we can make further modifications to our firewall for more security. And the backup process that is built into their virtual environment is very slick. And we ran backups last night. I verified that they were done correctly, and we will have them, the storage for those backups will actually be in Austin, Texas, and they will replicate those down there for us. That's kind of part of the hosting plan cost as well. So we will have some security there, in that we have some better disaster recovery in case anything happens.
Kelly, sorry.
Go ahead.
Kelly, are those backups going daily, or can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so right now what we're doing with those backups is the servers themselves, the configurations on them, they don't change quite as much. So what I'm doing is running them Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then for the database backups, what we're doing is twice a week. I'm doing them on Monday, and then Friday is what I'm doing there. And that is more of a, let's see what kind of an impact the backup has on the performance of the database. I want to make sure that it's not interrupting anything in terms of processing. So those will run in the early morning. So I think most of them are running between midnight and like 2 a.m. So they need low input output, if you will, so that they aren't changing a whole lot. And if those run well, then I might do it more frequently. But I'm just kind of stepping into it. So, but yep, that's where they're at right now. Yep.
Thank you.
I would just add to what Kelly said in terms of, if you look at this at a high level, we're mitigating risks, minimizing our direct capital expenditures, and we're gaining time, and the time we're gaining is Kelly's time to do other things besides just simply operate the system. And the mitigation of risk is that as much as we love Kelly and how capable he is, it's going forward not the best position to be in, to be as dependent on one person as we frankly have been. And now we have got a team of people managing the data center that are going to be helping do that work for our equipment. We're avoiding fairly sizable capital expenditures that would likely occur later this year or early in 2025 because our equipment was reaching end of useful life. You know, the downside is that our monthly expense is going to be higher. We were spending $3,000 a month just for our hosting rack. We're going to be spending $8,000 a month, but that buys everything. And I think there's a better move for us from a budget perspective in the long run as well. So we're looking forward to having Kelly back in the development team. And so I feel, especially since we're it's behind us now, we've got it done. I think it really positions us well for the future. So those would be my additional comments.
Okay. Anybody else have any? And I would agree, Kelly, thank you for all your hard work on this and making it as seamless as possible, because even with the downtime, it didn't really affect us. And we didn't hear any complaints from any of our constituents that normally would call us at the drop of a hat for any problem. So kudos to you and the team.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any
Absolutely.
questions or anything?
Absolutely.
Hey,
Thanks,
Lisa,
Kelly.
it's Lisa. I would back that up that I think our team works really hard to get some good communications out to the users so that, because I was here that afternoon that we were totally down manning the phones and the calls were minimal. That, oh, yeah, that's right, I will answer because it's down this afternoon. And it also helped that it was Good Friday, so a lot of people weren't working.
All right, well, that's what we have for you today. I would just point out on the agenda, I had a typo that the next meeting is the 16th of May, not the 15th, but the fee policy working group is going to be meeting on the 15th. So apologize for that typographical error. We do have some meetings coming up this month with the Standards Committee on the 23rd and the fee policy working group on the 24th. So a lot of things going on. We're happy to have this one behind us. So with that, I don't have anything further.
So
Lisa, there you go.
Phil, you mentioned the fact that the fee policy committee was meeting on the 15th of May. Will you have an update for us on the 16th then?
Absolutely, we will.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I think, you know, if we get into just realistically, as we get in to the end of May and June, I guess I would just encourage everybody to kind of keep your calendars available, because I think there will be quite a few meetings or special calls because there are a lot of issues in play. We're for the fee policy group, you know, we started working on some financial modeling at the last meeting. The working group gave us some direction. We're working on updates and variations on new models based on the guidance that the working group gave us, and you know, all of that will be available for sharing at the meetings later this month. So
Phil, can we keep the emails coming on the calendar appointments too, please? That is very beneficial.
I'm not sure that I got that question. Help me with that.
Sorry, when you send out the calendar invites, can you keep doing that? That is very beneficial to be able to click on the link, go to the calendar and click on that link.
As far as the calendar invite for the ESS meeting, yes, we can definitely do that.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I moved to adjourn.
So that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.